Hello, my friends. This is a true style story about a man named David. David is 35 years old. He lives in a small city. For many years, he worked in a shop and did not need English. But one day, his company got a new boss from another country. Many people started to speak English at work. David felt nervous. He was 35, not a student anymore. He thought learning English was only for young people. But inside his heart, he wanted to try. This story is about how David started to learn English step by step. It is written in very simple English so you can understand it easily. You can read it like a friend is talking to you. If you enjoy stories like this, you can follow and subscribe to read the next parts too. Now let's begin with part 1 of David's journey. David is 35 years old. He lives in a small city near the mountains. Every morning, he wakes up at 6 a.m. He drinks tea, eats bread with honey, and goes to work. For 15 years, he has worked in the same furniture shop. He sells chairs, tables, and small home things. Life is quiet, but also a little boring. One Monday, his boss calls a meeting. A new manager from England will come to the shop. The boss says, "We will need to speak some English with our new manager." David feels his heart beat fast. He only knows hello and goodbye. He cannot speak more. He thinks, "I am too old. I cannot learn now." But that night at home, he cannot sleep. He thinks about his future. Maybe he will lose his job. Maybe he will feel small. He remembers his dream when he was a teenager, to travel to another country. He never did because of money and because he did not know English. Next day, he walks in the park during lunch. He sees a boy reading an English book. The boy is maybe 14 years old. David asks, "Is English hard?" The boy smiles. "No," he says. "I learn one word every day. It is not hard." Those words stay in David's mind all afternoon. One word every day. Maybe he can do that too. That evening, David opens his old phone. He goes to the app store. He searches "Learn English Free." He finds a small app with a blue bird. He downloads it. The app asks his name and age. David writes, "David, 35. The app says, "Welcome, David. Let's learn English together." David laughs. It feels like a game. He learns his first new word, table. He already knows it from his shop, but now he knows how to spell it. He learns chair, window, door. He listens to the sounds. He repeats them. He feels like a child again. But it is fun. Each night after dinner, David uses the app for 10 minutes. Sometimes 15. He learns 3 or 4 words. He writes them on small papers and puts them on the kitchen wall. Table, chair, window, door, customer, buy, sell. Every morning, he looks at them when he drinks tea. After 2 weeks, he knows 50 new words. He feels proud. One Saturday, he goes to the library. He asks the woman at the desk, "Do you have books in easy English?" She gives him a small storybook with pictures. The title is Anna's Day. The book is for children, but David does not feel shame. He reads the first page. Anna wakes up. She eats breakfast. She goes to school. He understands. He smiles. He takes the book home. At work, David starts to hear English words from the new manager. "Good morning. How are you?" "Thank you." At first, he is shy, but one day he says, "Good morning" back. The manager smiles. David feels a little brave. He starts to say "thank you" and "please" in English. Small steps, small wins. After 1 month, David tells his wife, "I am learning English." She is surprised. "You are 35, she says. "Yes," David answers, "but it is never too late." They laugh together. In the evening, she listens when he practices words. She even learns some words too. David begins to dream again. He imagines himself speaking English with customers. He imagines traveling to another country. He imagines reading books without translation. The dream is not far now. It is close, step by step. This is how David starts his journey. He is 35, but he takes the first step. One word a day, one small action, one small victory. This is the beginning of a big change. David is now in his 2nd month of learning English. Every night after dinner, he still sits at the kitchen table with his phone and his small papers. On the wall of the kitchen, there are now more than 100 small words: table, chair, window, door, customer, buy, sell, morning, evening, smile. It looks like a garden of English. Every morning, when he drinks his tea, his eyes travel over the words. He whispers them softly. Sometimes his wife helps him. Sometimes his little daughter sticks new papers on the wall and says the words like a game. Learning is becoming part of family life. At work, David starts to notice something new. When the English manager speaks slowly, David can catch one or two words. He hears order, price, delivery. At first, the sounds are like rain. Now they are like small drops he can count. He writes down new words in a notebook he keeps in his pocket. During lunch, he opens the notebook and practices. People at work smile. They say, "David is learning English." He smiles too. He feels proud, but still humble. One Friday, the manager asks the staff to say their names in English. David says, "My name is David. I am 35 years old. I work in the shop." His voice shakes a little, but the manager smiles and claps. "Very good," she says. David's face becomes warm. It is the first time he speaks a full sentence at work in English. That night, he cannot stop smiling. He tells his wife, "I spoke English today." She says, "I am proud of you." It feels like a small but bright victory. David also starts to change his habits. He used to listen to music in his language when he cleaned the shop. Now he listens to easy English podcasts. They are very simple. This is a cat. The cat is black. The sun is hot today. At first he thinks it is childish, but slowly he starts to understand without looking at the words. His ears become stronger. He notices that simple words come back again and again. Hot, cold, happy, sad. The repetition helps. On Sundays, David and his family go to the park. He takes an easy English book with him. He reads while his daughter plays. Sometimes people look at him, a grown man reading a children's book. He does not care. He is learning. Inside, he feels young again. When a word is new, he underlines it. At home, he looks it up and writes it on a new paper for the wall. After 2 months, David can do small conversations at work. "Good morning. How are you? I can help you. This chair is cheap." His accent is not perfect, but he does not feel afraid anymore. Mistakes are teachers. He repeats words until they feel natural in his mouth. One afternoon, a customer from another country comes to the shop. She wants to buy a small table. She speaks English slowly. David tries. "Hello, how can I help you?" She answers. He understands half. He shows her 3 tables. She chooses one. At the end, she says, "Thank you." David answers, "Thank you very much. Have a good day." The customer smiles. For David, this is a big moment. It is the first time he uses English with a real customer from start to finish. He feels strong, like he climbed a small mountain. At home that night, David opens his notebook. He writes, "Today I spoke English with a customer. I was nervous, but I did it." He reads the sentence again and again. He feels hope grow inside him. English is no longer a wall. It is a door slowly opening. David also discovers a small English group in his city. They meet once a week in a cafe. People of different ages come to practice. Some are students, some are workers, some are older. David is shy, but he decides to go. The first time he just listens. The second time he says, "Hello, my name is David." The third time he talks about his work. The people clap and encourage him. He makes new friends who also learn. He sees he is not alone. Step by step, David is building a new habit, a new skill, and a new confidence. He is still 35. He still works in the shop. But something is changing inside him. The small wins are becoming a bigger dream. He starts to think, maybe one day I can take an English test. Maybe I can travel. Maybe I can get a better job. For the first time in many years, his future feels open. It is now 4 months since David started his English journey. The wall in his kitchen is no longer a small garden. It is a forest of words. Small papers cover the fridge, the cupboard, even the door. His wife jokes, "Soon we will live inside an English house." David laughs, but inside he feels proud. Every paper is a small step. Every word is a new brick in the road to his dream. Each morning before work, David reads 10 words aloud. Window, customer, happy, price, chair, answer, question, book, today, tomorrow. He closes his eyes and repeats them. His mouth feels stronger, like muscles after exercise. In the evening, he spends 15 or 20 minutes with his phone app. He has finished the first level. The app says, "Great work, David." It shows a gold star. It feels silly but also nice. He has not received a star since school. It makes him smile. David also starts to change how he spends his time. Before, after work, he watched TV in his language. Now he watches short videos in easy English. Some are cooking, some are travel, some are simple stories. He keeps the subtitles on. At first, he reads more than he listens. Slowly, he starts to listen more than he reads. Sometimes he rewinds a part and listens again. He learns phrases, not only words. How much is this? I am looking for. Can you help me? He says them out loud while walking around his living room. His daughter laughs and copies him. At the shop, David begins to use his new phrases. When a customer comes, he tries, "Can I help you? This table is very strong. You can pay here." Sometimes the customer does not understand. Sometimes David forgets a word. But he smiles, apologizes, and tries again. Each small conversation gives him more courage. His manager notices. She says, "Your English is improving, David." Those words are like warm sunlight. He writes them in his notebook to remember on hard days. One evening at the English cafe group, David meets a man named Ahmed who is 40. Ahmed started learning English last year. He tells David, "I also thought I was too old. But we are never too old to learn." They practice together. Ahmed teaches David some tips. Listen every day, speak even if you are not sure, and write short notes in English about your day. David begins to keep a simple diary. Today I worked. I sold 2 chairs. I felt happy. His sentences are short but real. Writing helps him see his progress. After 5 months, David notices a new feeling, confidence. When he hears English on the radio, he does not panic. He hears one word, then another, then the meaning comes slowly. When he speaks, his tongue does not freeze like before. He even starts to enjoy mistakes because every mistake teaches him something new. One day he says, "I am boring," instead of "I am bored" at the cafe. Everyone laughs kindly. Someone explains the difference. David laughs too and never forgets again. He also starts to dream bigger. He looks at websites of English courses. He finds a free online class for adults. It meets twice a week on video. The teacher speaks slowly. Students come from many countries: Mexico, Japan, Egypt. The first time David joins, his heart beats fast. But when he hears people from different countries speaking simple English, he feels calm. He says, "Hello, my name is David. I am from..." The teacher smiles. "Welcome, David." Suddenly his world feels bigger. At home, his wife notices the change. "You look happier," she says. David nods. "I feel young again," he answers. His daughter listens to English songs with him. The whole house has a new sound. English is no longer a school subject. It is part of their life. Now, 6 months after that first small step, David stands in the shop, helping a foreign customer choose a chair. He explains the color, the size, the price. The customer thanks him. David thanks back. It feels natural. He remembers the first night, sitting alone with his phone, thinking he was too old. He smiles. He is not too old. He is learning. He is changing. He is opening a door to a bigger world, word by word. This is David's journey so far. Small steps, new habits, new confidence. The road is still long, but now he walks it with hope. David has now been learning English for almost 8 months. The small papers in his kitchen are now like colorful wallpaper. Each word is a memory, a night of study, a morning of practice, a small victory. His wife calls it our English wall. David laughs. He feels proud every time he looks at it. He also feels different at work. When the English manager gives instructions, David can understand almost everything. He no longer hides at the back of the room. He asks small questions in English. What time? How many chairs? Where to put this? The manager smiles and answers. David feels like part of a bigger team. Every Tuesday evening, David joins his free online English class. The teacher speaks slowly and kindly. Students from many countries wave at the camera. David listens to their accents, their stories, their dreams. It makes him feel less alone. He thinks, we are all learning. We are all trying. He writes new words from the class in his notebook. Before sleep, he reads them aloud. On Saturdays, he goes to the cafe group. He can now speak in small conversations without freezing. How was your week? I sold many tables. I watched a movie. He laughs with his new friends. Mistakes still happen, but he does not feel ashamed. Each mistake is a teacher. Each conversation is practice. At home, David also starts to watch full movies with subtitles. He chooses simple ones. At first, he reads a lot. Slowly, he listens more. He begins to catch jokes, emotions, and small details. Sometimes he explains a word to his wife or daughter. They are surprised. Wow, Daddy knows, his daughter says. That gives David more energy. One evening, the English manager asks David, "Can you help me translate for a customer?" David is nervous, but says yes. He explains a product in English. The customer understands and smiles. The manager says, "Great job, David." David writes that sentence in his diary. It is a big moment for him. At night, sitting with tea, David thinks about his journey. 8 months ago, he could only say hello. Now he can speak, listen, read simple books, write short notes, and join real conversations. He feels more open, more alive. English has not only given him new words, but also new friends, new confidence, and new dreams. He starts to believe that at any age you can learn, change, and grow. The door is open. He is walking through it. Oh, it is now 1 year since David began his journey with English. He is still 35, still working in the same shop, but he feels like a different man. When he wakes up in the morning, he no longer sees only his old routine. He sees a wall of words that he has learned. He sees a path that he has built himself. Every day after breakfast, he reads his diary in English. The sentences are longer now. Today, I will help a foreign customer choose a sofa. I am a little nervous, but excited. He writes about his feelings, his goals, and his small successes. Writing helps him see how far he has come. At work, his manager now asks him to help more with international customers. David can greet them, ask questions, explain prices, and say goodbye politely. His accent is still strong, but people understand him. He no longer feels shy. He even enjoys it. Customers smile and thank him. Some ask, "How long have you been learning?" And he proudly answers, 1 year. On Tuesdays, he still goes to his online English class. He can understand the teacher without subtitles now. He even helps other students who are beginners. He writes tips for them. 1 word a day. Listen a lot. Don't be afraid of mistakes. When he shares these tips, he remembers his own first weeks. It makes him smile. David also starts to read small English articles on the internet about furniture, travel, and sports. At first, he looks up many words. Slowly, he understands more without help. He begins to dream about traveling. He looks at pictures of London and New York. He tells his wife, "One day I want to go there and order coffee in English." She smiles and says, "We will go." One weekend, the cafe group organizes a small English picnic in the park. Everyone brings food and speaks only English. David spends 2 hours speaking, laughing, asking, and answering. At the end, the organizer says, "You have improved a lot, David." He feels warm inside. English is no longer a subject. It is a part of his life. That night, sitting with tea, David thinks about his journey. A year ago, he thought he was too old. A year ago, he was afraid of mistakes. Now he knows learning is not about age. It is about small steps and patience. He feels proud, not only because of English, but because he has proved to himself that change is possible. The door he opened a year ago is now a road, and he is walking forward, 1 word at a time. Thank you very much for reading David's story. I hope it gave you hope and ideas for your own English learning. Remember, You are never too old to start. One small step every day can open a big door. If you like simple stories like this and want more easy English texts to read and learn, please subscribe and follow. Your support helps me to make more free and easy stories for you. Thank you again.